Welcome to another episode of Books and Bytes. You know how some people just kind of float through life, making connections and leaving a good impression wherever they go? Well, today we're going to try to figure out their secrets. We're diving deep into How to Talk to Anyone by Leil Lowndes. And I am so excited for this one.
Me too.
So we're not just going to summarize the book or whatever. It's more like we're going to extract these really simple but surprisingly effective techniques that Lowndes presents.
Yeah.
And they can actually transform how you interact with people on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
So get ready, because we're about to unlock some serious social magnetism.
I like that social magnetism.
Yeah, it's kind of catchy, right?
It is.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll be armed with all sorts of actionable strategies, from making a killer first impression to mastering the art of conversation and building genuine rapport. It's like getting an instant upgrade to your charisma and confidence in any situation.
I think what's so fascinating about this book is it gives you this toolkit for navigating the social world. But it's not about changing who you are. It's about understanding these subtle cues and behaviors that can make a big difference in how you're perceived and how you connect with others.
I think a lot of people get intimidated by the idea of having to change their whole persona to be more likable.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is more about just little tweaks and adjustments.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to focus on today.
Yeah.
For you, the listener, we're going to go beyond the surface of these 92 techniques.
Okay.
And really unpack the underlying principles that make them so effective.
Right.
And we want to make sure that by the end of this, you're equipped with insights that you can use right away to improve your social interactions.
I love that. So let's jump right in, and we'll start with the place where every interaction begins: first impressions.
Okay.
It's crazy how fast we judge each other, right?
No, it's instantaneous.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
It is.
But luckily, Lowndes has some seriously clever tricks for making those split-second judgments work in your favor. So what are we talking about here?
Well, let's start with something called the flooding smile.
Okay. The flooding smile.
This is more than just a quick grin.
Right.
Lowndes suggests that you pause for a beat or two before letting a warm smile spread across your face.
Okay.
What's interesting is that brief delay makes the smile feel more genuine.
Oh, I see.
Like you're really happy to see that specific person.
That makes sense.
Have you ever noticed how sometimes an immediate smile can feel a little forced?
Yes, 100%.
It's like it's automatic or even insincere.
It's like you're just doing it because you feel like you have to.
Exactly.
But the flooding smile is more like a genuine reaction.
It's like you're choosing to smile because you're actually pleased to be interacting with that person.
So it's all about the timing.
Yes, timing is key.
Okay, I can see how that would make a difference.
And then we have sticky eyes.
Okay, sticky eyes. What's that all about?
Well, it's not about staring someone down or being creepy.
Right.
It's more about holding eye contact for just a fraction of a second longer than what feels completely natural at first.
So it's like a subtle thing.
Yes, subtle but powerful because it conveys focus and engagement.
I like that.
It's like you're non-verbally saying, I'm really present with you right now.
I think I actually do this without even thinking about it.
You probably do a lot of these things naturally.
Yeah.
That's why they feel so authentic when you do them consciously.
It's like amplifying what's already there.
Exactly.
Okay, sticky eyes. Got it.
So now let's move on to something called the big baby pivot.
The big baby pivot. That sounds adorable.
I know the name is a bit whimsical, but the impact is huge.
Okay, tell me more.
It's really simple when someone's talking to you. Turn your entire body to face them.
So it's not just making eye contact, it's like giving them your full attention.
Yes, it's like a nonverbal way of saying, you are the most important person in the room right now.
I like that it's so respectful.
It is. You're prioritizing them in that moment.
And that's so rare these days with everyone being so distracted all the time.
Absolutely.
Okay, big baby pivot, check.
Now imagine you're walking into a room full of people.
Okay, on there.
Lowndes has a trick for this called the exclusive smile.
The exclusive smile.
Instead of smiling at the whole group at once, you single out one person and give them a warm smile first.
Okay.
And then you extend it to the rest of the group.
So it's like you're creating a special connection with that one person right off the bat.
Exactly. It makes them feel seen and acknowledged before you even say a word.
It's subtle, but it's so smart.
It's a great way to start building rapport.
All right. Exclusive smile noted.
Now, before we move on from first impressions, I want to mention one more technique.
Okay.
Visualizing success.
Visualizing success. So this is more of a mental preparation thing.
Exactly. It's about taking a few moments before a social interaction to mentally rehearse a positive outcome.
So it's like athletes visualizing winning a game.
Yes, exactly. You picture yourself being confident, engaging, and charming.
So you're basically setting yourself up for success.
Right, you're priming your mind for a positive experience.
And that can help with nerves too, I bet.
Absolutely. Visualizing success can calm your anxiety and help you project a more confident demeanor.
Okay. Visualizing success sounds like a great way to start. So we've talked about making a killer first impression, but what happens next?
Well, then comes the dreaded small talk.
Oh yeah, small talk.
A lot of people find it awkward and pointless.
I get it, but I've actually learned to appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a warm-up for a deeper conversation.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, and Lowndes has some great tips for making small talk less painful and more engaging.
Absolutely. She argues that it's actually a crucial bridge to more meaningful connections.
That makes sense.
So let's dive into some of her techniques.
Let's do it.
First up, we have never the naked thank you.
Okay. Never the naked thank you. What's that about?
So imagine someone gives you a compliment. Instead of just saying thank you, you add a little something extra.
Give me an example.
Let's say someone says, you gave a great presentation. Great. Instead of just thank you could say thank you. I really put a lot of effort into it.
Oh, I like that.
Or you could follow Lowndes' suggestion and say, that's very kind of you to notice.
It's like you're acknowledging their thoughtfulness.
Exactly. It turns a simple acknowledgement into a genuine connection.
It's all about adding a touch of warmth and personality.
Right. It shows that you appreciate the compliment and that you're engaging with the person who gave it.
Okay. Never the naked thank you. I'll remember that one.
Now let's talk about a technique called parroting.
Parroting.
Yeah.
So are we literally just repeating what people say?
Well, it's a bit more nuanced than that.
Okay.
It involves repeating the last few words someone says, often with a slight upward inflection.
Give me an example.
Sure. If someone says, I just got back from a fascinating trip to Peru,
Okay.
you might respond with, to Peru.
Oh, I see.
It shows you're listening and it encourages them to elaborate.
It's like you're gently prompting them to tell you more.
Exactly. And you don't have to come up with a brilliant new question on the spot.
Right. It just keeps the conversation flowing.
Seamlessly, and it shows that you're truly present in the conversation.
Parroting. Simple but effective.
Absolutely.
What else do we have?
Okay, next up is the echo effect.
The echo effect. This sounds kind of mysterious.
It is a bit subtle. You basically mirror the other person's tone pace and even their body language to a degree.
So you're like subtly syncing up with them.
Yes, it creates a sense of rapport and understanding.
It's like finding a shared rhythm in the conversation.
Exactly, and it happens subconsciously, so it feels very natural.
Okay. Echo effect check.
Now let's talk about question. Lowndes makes a big distinction between closed-ended and open-ended questions.
Mm-hmm.
Closed-ended questions can be answered with a simple yes or no, like did you enjoy the movie?
Yeah.
While open-ended questions invite more detailed responses.
Give me an example.
Instead of did you enjoy the movie, you could ask what was your favorite part of the movie and why?
Oh, I see. So you're encouraging them to share more of their thoughts and feelings.
Exactly. It opens up the conversation and gives you more to connect with.
So instead of just getting a yes or no, you're getting a whole story.
Exactly. And that's what makes small talk meaningful.
It's about going beyond the surface level.
Right. It's about using those initial exchanges to learn something about the other person and to find common ground.
So small talk, when done well, is anything but trivial.
I completely agree.
I'm starting to see small talk in a whole new light.
That's great.
So we've talked about first impressions and we've mastered the art of small talk.
We have.
But how do we take those initial interactions and turn them into something deeper?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
This is where Lowndes dives into the art of becoming charismatic.
Ooh, charisma. I like it.
But here's the thing. Charisma in the context of this book isn't about having a huge personality or being the life of the party.
Okay.
It's about making the people you interact with feel genuinely seen, heard, and valued.
That's a really beautiful way to think about charisma.
I think so too, and it's something we can all cultivate.
So how do we do it?
Well, one technique that really embodies this is the Hansel and Gretel trick.
The Hansel and Gretel trick.
It's about strategically dropping little intriguing details about yourself throughout the conversation.
Like breadcrumbs.
Exactly. You're sparking curiosity and inviting the other person to ask follow-up questions.
So it's not about bragging or dominating the conversation?
No, it's about creating a sense of mystery and inviting the other person to engage with you on a deeper level.
Oh,
It's a subtle art.
it is, but it's so effective.
And then we have listening like a star.
Listening like a star.
Well, this goes way beyond just passively hearing what someone is saying.
Right.
It's about actively engaging with their emotions and responding in a way that validates their feelings.
So it's not just about the words, but also the energy behind them.
Exactly.
Give me an example.
Sure, someone shares some exciting news with you. Instead of just saying, "That's nice," in a flat tone,
Yeah.
you respond with genuine enthusiasm. "Wow, that's fantastic. Tell me all about it."
I see the difference is huge.
It is one response barely acknowledges their excitement, while the other makes them feel truly seen and celebrated.
It's about making them feel like their emotions matter.
Exactly.
Listening like a star. I'll definitely be working on that one.
Another great technique is the "I see what you mean" technique.
The I see what you mean technique.
Okay. This is about using phrases that explicitly show you understand the other person's perspective.
Okay.
Things like, "That makes sense. I understand what you're saying," or "I can see how you would feel that way."
So you're basically validating their feelings and showing empathy.
Exactly. And it makes them feel heard and understood, which is so important for building connection.
It's like you're building a bridge of understanding between you.
I love that analogy.
Now, this next one sounds a little counterintuitive.
Oh, which one is that?
The kill the quick Me Too rule.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
This one throws people off sometimes.
I can see why. Because our natural instinct when someone shares an experience is to jump in with a similar story of our own.
Right. We want to show that we relate and that we've been there.
But this rule says we should hold back.
It does, and for good reason.
Explain.
When we immediately jump in with our own Me Too story, we unintentionally shift the focus away from the other person.
Oh, I see.
It's like we're saying, "Yeah, you went through that, but I went through something similar, so let's talk about me now."
Right, which is not very charismatic.
Not at all. This technique is about letting the other person have their moment.
It's about prioritizing their experience and letting them feel fully heard before you bring yourself into it.
Exactly, and it's a sign of true respect and empathy.
Kill the quick Me Too rule. I'll try to remember that one.
It's a tough one, but it's worth it.
So we've talked about making a good first impression, mastering small talk, and building deeper connections.
We have.
But what about those situations where we need to be more influential or project a sense of confidence?
Ah, yes. That's where we get into the realm of using our communication skills to not just connect, but to also lead and persuade.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
This section of the book is all about how to command respect and exude confidence through subtle but powerful communication strategies.
Bring it on.
One technique that I find particularly interesting is the "what would they say about you" trick.
Okay, the what would they say about you trick. Tell me more.
So before you walk into a situation where you want to make a certain impression,
Okay,
you take a moment to think about how you want people to perceive you afterwards,
I like it.
and then you actively embody those qualities in your behavior.
So it's like setting an intention for how you want to be seen.
Exactly. And then you align your actions with that intention.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
I like that way of putting it.
Okay, what else do we have?
Let's talk about the swiveling spotlight.
The swiveling spotlight. That sounds fun.
It is, and it's a great way to make others feel valued in a conversation.
Okay, how does it work?
When someone asks you a question about yourself, you answer briefly,
Okay,
and then you immediately redirect the focus back to them with a related question.
give me an example.
Sure, if someone asks, "How are you finding your new job?"
Okay,
You could say, "It's been challenging but rewarding. Thanks for asking." "What kind of projects are you working on these days?"
oh, I see. So you're acknowledging their question, but you're not making it all about you.
Exactly. You're keeping the conversational spotlight on them.
It's like you're passing the mic back and forth.
I like that analogy.
Okay, swiveling spotlight. Got it.
Now, this next one is a bit more about letting your actions speak louder than words.
Okay,
It's called the silent VIP technique.
the silent VIP technique. This sounds intriguing.
It is. It's about allowing your accomplishments to speak for themselves rather than boasting about them.
So it's like a quiet confidence.
Exactly. When your achievements are recognized by others without you having to point them out, it carries more weight.
It's like you're letting your work speak for itself. Silent VIP technique. I like it.
Okay, now let's talk about the power pause.
The power pause. What's that all about?
This is a simple but effective technique.
Right.
You intentionally pause for a few seconds before responding to a question.
Really?
Yes, it might feel awkward at first.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But that brief silence actually makes you appear more thoughtful, deliberate, and confident.
It's like you're carefully considering your answer.
Exactly, and it avoids the impression of being rushed or flustered.
So it projects an image of composure and authority.
Right.
Power pause. Check.
Now let's move on to something called the nonverbal nod.
The nonverbal nod. Picturing like a slow nod.
Yes, exactly. A slow, deliberate nod while someone is speaking.
Okay.
It's a powerful way to encourage them to continue.
It's like you're saying, I'm listening, keep going.
And it also signals your deep engagement with what they're saying.
So it's like a nonverbal way of showing respect and interest.
Exactly. And it can make the other person feel very heard and validated.
Nonverbal nod. I'll definitely be using that one.
It's a subtle but powerful tool.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But even with all these amazing communication skills, let's face it, we're all going to encounter those awkward or difficult social situations.
Oh, absolutely. Those are inevitable.
Yeah. So what does Lowndes have to say about navigating those moments gracefully?
Well, this last section of the book is all about handling conflict, criticism, and social missteps with finesse.
Okay, give me the goods.
One of the most useful techniques is the broken record technique.
The broken record technique, what's that about?
It's for those situations where you're facing persistent pressure or unwanted requests.
Okay.
You calmly and repeatedly state your position without getting drawn into an emotional debate.
So it's like you're setting a boundary, but you're doing it in a way that's not aggressive or confrontational?
Exactly.
Give me an example.
Let's say someone keeps trying to persuade you to take on extra work when you're already swamped.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
You might say something like, I understand you need help, but I'm not able to take on any more at the moment. And you just calmly repeat that as needed.
Like a broken record.
Exactly, hence the name.
I love it. It's simple, but it's so effective.
It is. It's about being firm, but not rude.
Broken record technique. I'm adding that one to my arsenal.
Good choice.
Okay, what else do we have?
Well, let's talk about apologies.
Apologies.
We all make social blunders from time to time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Lowndes calls this verbal foot and mouth syndrome.
That's a good one?
And her advice is to offer a brief, sincere apology and then move on.
Yes. Don't dwell on it or over-apologize.
That's like ripping off a Band-Aid. A quick apology acknowledges the mistake without making it a bigger deal than it needs to be.
And dwelling on it just makes everyone uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So apologize swiftly and then change the subject. I like it.
And then there's reframing criticism.
Okay, reframing criticism. So this is about how we handle negative feedback.
Exactly. It's about consciously choosing to view criticism as potential feedback for growth rather than a personal attack.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is, and it can make a huge difference in how you respond.
So instead of getting defensive or upset, you're looking for the kernel of truth in the feedback.
Right, even if the delivery isn't ideal.
It's about turning a potentially negative experience into an opportunity for learning.
Exactly.
Reframing criticism. That's a game changer.
It really is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into how to talk to anyone, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that all of these techniques are rooted in the idea of making others feel valued, understood, and important. And whether you're trying to make a great first impression, master small talk, build deeper connections, project confidence, or navigate difficult situations, all of these strategies ultimately come down to treating others with respect and showing genuine interest in them.
It's about recognizing that even small shifts in your behavior can lead to big positive changes in your relationships. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling inspired, I encourage you to pick just one of these techniques and try it out in your next social interaction.
That's a great idea.
See what happens. You might be surprised by the results.
And if you want to explore all 92 of Lowndes' techniques in depth, we highly recommend grabbing a copy of the book.
There's a link in the description below.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into how to talk to anyone and you want to explore more fascinating books with us,
be sure to subscribe to Books and Bytes.
We'd love to have you join us on our next literary adventure.
Until next time, happy reading and even happier talking to anyone.